Hi, welcome to Caribou Country Lifestyle. My name is Cheryl. Today I'm going to be start harvesting some of my vegetables, the stuff that's been taking a little bit longer to mature. Here I have my Amish paste tomatoes. They have done very well. As you can see, some of these tomatoes are just huge for aroma paste tomato. They are just massive. And I have so much more coming on here. Not only am I going to be harvesting some of my tomatoes, I am going to be pruning off the top of my tomatoes. Any new flowers that are starting, I'm cutting those off. I'm just going to top my tomatoes off. I want the tomato plants to focus their energy on the fruit that they have on them right now. I want these tomatoes, these green ones, I want them to start ripening. I have quite a few that are ripe right now, but I need to get the rest of these ripe. So I brought some little clippers. I put them somewhere. Okay, so I am just going to snip these off. A lot of these tomatoes that I pick, they're either going to be going to a salsa or they're going to be going to canned tomatoes. So we have quite a few that are ripe. Like these are just such a wonderful size. When I had them growing over on the other panel over there, they were nothing like this. Like I was not going to plant these again if that didn't start, producing some results, and they obviously love it in this space. They have a pretty good array of sun coming in through here, and I have lots on here and more to come as well that needs to ripen. So we'll just get the last little bit of these. I have a couple more here, and then we'll move on to the next variety. So I think that's all I have over here. And then I just have a couple of yellow pear tomatoes. I just had 2 yellow pear tomatoes. So, I didn't need to show you how to do that. We're going to move on over onto this other side, and we have the brandywine. So I actually am only going to be taking one of the brandywine that I have that's probably the most ripe, and that's this one. It's a nice looking one. It has a couple of little blemishes on it, but you can always cut around that as well. So one over here on the brandywine. Then beside the brandywine, I have the Carnival blend, and I got some ants all over these ones. So I've got one here. And another one over on this side. In a Carnival blend, you can have anywhere from 5 to 7 different varieties in a Carnival blend. Some of them could be a pink brandy wine. I think there was not the black crim, but the Cherokee purple. I think that was another one that is in the Carnival blend as well. So we'll just put these ones in my bin here also, and we will move on to the next variety of tomatoes. Over on this side, this is the Aunt Molly's German green, which is funny because you would think when it says German green that the tomatoes might be green. Not even close. So I'm just gonna pick these on the bottom. Like, look at how beautiful those are. Like, it's such a nice tomato. Got one. Like, these are just absolutely beautiful. I love the looks of these. And then I'm gonna pick this one too, because it's about, well, okay, the back side wasn't as ripe as the front side. I guess I should have looked at all the sides. But I have tons, well, maybe not tons, but I have lots more coming on here. And then what I'm doing is I'm gonna top off where these, I have flowers up here, but there's no tomatoes on it. So I'm gonna just cut this top off right there. And I'm just gonna put this top, and I'll bring my wheelbarrow over and come and pick it up. And then the same goes for this one. I'm just gonna go down to the first tomato that I find, and I will cut it just above that. So right here on this one, and then over here, I'm gonna cut it right there. Because these don't have enough time for these flowers to even produce a tomato, let alone get them to a fair size and let them ripen. It's just not gonna happen. We're probably lucky if we have another month left in the season to have these tomatoes ripen to, you know, some might not even ripen enough. And here we have, this is the black crim. I only have two over on this. I got one on this other side. So I'll cut that one out too. That's pretty nice. I'm gonna put these ones in my bin. So this week is gonna be a busy week of canning salsa and tomatoes. Okay, I think that's it. We'll move on to the next variety. I just want to show you when I cut the top off of the Amish paste, I probably cut about another 3 feet of tomato top off of that Amish paste, like 3 feet on that. So you think about it, this plant grew about 7 feet tall. Like, that's crazy how tall that is. Put that in my pile of tomatoes. So here we have the indigo rose, and I've actually picked one off of these already. And I was telling you that, I'm just going to pick out these weeds as well, multitasking. I was telling you that if you look at the bottom of the indigo rose tomato, you can tell if it's ripe or not. So I'm going to look at some of these on the bottom. Well, this one snapped off. So I'm going to use this as an example, and I'm just going to look for another one. Oh, here. So as you can see, this one is green on the bottom. It's not ripe. It's not going to taste bitter if I was to eat that. But look at how this one is turning red. This one is ripe and it is ready to be picked. So that's how you can tell if they are ripe or not. And I have another one here, again, turning red on the bottom as opposed to still being green on the bottom. And I think that's it for this one. And I don't see any ripe on that one yet either. So that's how you tell on the indigo rose whether they're ripe or not. As for the new girls, I got a couple here. They're definitely not as big, more of like a small to medium sized tomato. Got a couple here that I can pick. This one's still a little bit green. I'll leave that one. I don't need to pick. I mean, I'm going to have lots as it is. I don't need to pick them if they're not fully ripe. So let's keep on picking. We'll move on to the next variety. I don't know what happened here, but I was deadheading my calendula, and I noticed that my Cherokee purple tomato plant was laying on the ground. And I was like, well, when the heck did that happen? Because I don't remember I'm sure the last time I was in here, I would have noticed that my tomato plant was laying on the ground. So I got some more of my tomato ties here just so I could get this back up and staked. They must, I don't know if they just, it couldn't have untied because I always do it in a double knot. So I'm not sure what happened. Maybe just the strips themselves just broke. It was too heavy. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I've got it staked back up again. It's good to go. So as I said, these are the Cherokee purple, and I have a few of these that are ripe as well. This one is so ripe that it's split. If you can see that. So I'm not sure if we're gonna salvage that or not. I could possibly just cut around it, but I'll get these other ones out too before they split. Got quite a few of these. Some are ready to pick, some are not ready to pick. And this one that fell on the ground, I don't have any on there that are ripe and ready to pick. This next one is the old German, and I've picked a couple off of here already. But again, these are really beautiful yellow tomato. I've got another one down here. Really nice looking. Some are big, but this one's not very big. And then I've got another little one kind of tucked in between here. There we go. And what's this one? No, that's not quite ripe enough to pick. I've got some dragon tongue bush beans. They need to be picked as well. So again, I'm going to just top this off on the top of the plant here. I'm just going to cut it right there and pull that out. Got about another 2.5 feet of tomato plant. Like, these are just bending right over. They're so tall on the top. I'll just cut this one off right here. And this one also right there. I'm gonna chunk on the other side. I'll have to go to the other side and clip that off. Oh, here's one bending over on this side. So I'll just cut this right there. And I'm gonna go over to the other side. Here's the piece here. I'm just gonna cut this top part off. And then I'll come over here in the back. And I will cut it right there. It kind of weaved its way through the fence panel on this other side. So there are a few tomatoes on this other side, so I'll leave the tomatoes there but cut this top part of the plant off. Okay, that is done. Let's move on to the next variety. This side we have the ox heart. Let's bring it over. And there's only a couple on this plant that are ready. There's the ox heart in the shape of a heart. And I've got another little one that's kind of being squished up against this panel, so I'm just going to cut it out. It's not fully ripe, but I will take it out also. And then on here, I'm just going to cut this top piece off because I don't have any tomatoes on the top here growing, so I'm just going to cut this top section off, and I'll put that over there, add it to my pile to take to the compost. I'm going to cut this section off, and I tied it up here, so I think I'll just cut this tie. I don't have any tomatoes up at the top here, so I'll cut it right off there, right where I had tied it. And then that way it can focus on, like, look at that, that's huge, huge tomato. And then next to it we have the chocolate sprinkles. And they're a red tomato with the green veins going through it. This is supposed to be a cherry tomato, but that's like probably 2 bites right there. This one here looks more like the cherry-sized tomato. So I got a few here that I can pick, and we'll look over on this one over here. I've got some, I'm just going to stand up here and come over to this side because I've got quite a few tomatoes growing on this side. So I am going to cut this top right there. Like I say, I have quite a few coming over, spilling over onto this side. So, oh, I've got a ripe one there. So I'll take that one off. And I have another one here. So just a couple of the chocolate sprinkles, not too many that are ripe right now, and that's okay. They'll be ripening up quick now. Things are still pretty warm. Today we're getting to, it was 27 degrees yesterday, and today it's supposed to be just as warm again. Pretty stinking nice weather for it being, we're into September now, and it's pretty nice. So we'll go to our last variety over on the other side, other panel over on the other side of the garden. Tomatoes here, these are the natural black cherry tomatoes. Got a little one down here, another one there, and these are cherry tomato as well. They're a really nice cherry tomato. I enjoy these by themselves or in a salad. I made a cucumber and tomato salad. I make a creamy dressing with it, kind of like if you do a homemade coleslaw dressing, it's kind of like that. You have your mayo, vinegar, a little bit of sugar, some salt and pepper, a little bit of vinegar, and a tiny splash of milk in it. And it's a really nice dressing, and you can add green onions or red onions to the tomatoes and the cucumbers, which is really nice too. And then down here, this is the other ox heart tomato. Just have a couple here that are ripe, and then the last of my tomatoes that I need to pick, those are the ones that are my cherry tomatoes, and they are on the deck. So I'll be picking those, but I'm also going to be picking some of my peppers. So I have a couple of gypsy peppers just over on this other side, and I'm just going to grab them as well. So a couple of little gypsy peppers that were ready. Figured I might as well pick them. I can add them to my salsa. I have another couple of peppers I want to pick also. Here's my little pile of tomato tops that I've topped all my tomatoes off. So we'll just take a quick look. You can see my tomatoes over there. Top them all off. So if I look at each of the tops of the panels, I have topped all of these tomatoes off on the tops of the panels. And then if I come over here, this was the ox heart and the natural black cherry. And then over on that side was the chocolate sprinkles and the ox heart as well. And I topped those plants off also. I'm pretty excited to show you about this. So this is my first time having a pretty nice head of cheddar cauliflower. So I'm just gonna push these branches down so you can see this head. And I am cutting this and taking it in because it is a perfect size cauliflower. I'm just gonna cut it. Take these bottom leaves off. Like I was talking about my sister's cauliflower that she had the white cauliflower, that was the fortune cauliflower, and this is the cheddar cauliflower. Like, look at that head. That is beautiful. Got a little spider there. Like, no bug damage on it whatsoever. That is a beautiful head of cheddar cauliflower. And I have two more. I have another one here. It's not quite as big, but it is definitely getting there. It's about half this size. That's absolutely beautiful. And I'm gonna soak this in some salt water just to make sure that there are no worms or any types of bugs in it. And that helps to get rid of the bugs from inside. So I'm going to put this in my basket, and I'm going to be cutting a cabbage and one of these Chinese gold cabbages as well. So I'll put this in my basket. I could not believe that. That's so beautiful. Okay, let's go down here. So over here I have another of the Chinese gold cabbage, and I'm going to pull this one right out because it needs to be picked. I'm just going to pull the whole plant out, and I'm going to cut off the bottom part of it with my knife here. There we go. I'm going to add this in my basket also, and I'll put this in my compost. Should have brought my wheelbarrow, but I'll just put it in a pile right here all together. And the same with that cauliflower there. I've got a head of broccoli here. It's actually just starting to send out yellow flowers. So I'm going to cut that off too. So there's my broccoli. Add that to my basket. And it's sending out side shoots also, so that's good. It'll give me little side shoots of little broccoli spears also. So I'm gonna also pick a cabbage. I think I've decided this is my biggest head of cabbage, and I want to have cabbage this week. So I'm just going to push these leaves down, and I'm just going to cut this one out. Take off these outer leaves. Like, that's just a really nice head of cabbage. And this is the Scorpio cabbage that I've grown, and I still have, even though this is the first cabbage I've picked, and I still have 10 more cabbages on the go. So I'm gonna add this to my basket, and then I'll pull this plant out and I'll add that to my compost also. So what I've also done is I picked a couple of cucumbers, I harvested, the purple ones are the dragon tongue bush beans, and then I also harvested the green, which are the French fillet beans. Over here in this basket, I thinned out my early wonder beets and my queen ruby beets as well. Look at that. Cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, Chinese gold cabbage, and then down in this basket I thinned out, I'll get out of the way, I thinned out my atomic red carrots, and also I thinned out the Danver half-longs, and that was in this bed over here I was saying. So I ended up taking out the lettuce because it had gone to seed. I thinned out my beets so we could make room for the small ones. And then over here is where I thinned out the carrots on this side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here in this bed, and I'm just going to pull out the rest of the Goldfinger carrots. I've already pulled out the Danver half-long carrots, and those were the ones that were over in this bed. We pulled out those a couple of days ago, and we actually had them for dinner last night. And these are the Goldfinger carrots, and I'm just going to pull them out. They've been in here just as long as the Danver half-longs, and kind of just talk to you about what's been going on. We have been gone. We ended up taking my son back to Vancouver, and the reason why we did that was because we had a concert that we were going to. So we went to an Ed Sheeran concert in Vancouver, and if you have never seen Ed Sheeran, oh my gosh, what an amazing artist. Like, I just had no idea what a wonderful performer, very genuine person that he is. And apparently in BC Place in Vancouver, that's where the concert was, they had 65,000 people came to see Ed Sheeran the night that we went to see him. And that was September the 2nd was the concert. And it was, like I say, what a performer. Like, I couldn't believe how much he actually plays on his own without his band to be accompanying him. I was very impressed with that. So we stayed in Vancouver with Jamie's brother and his wife. There was actually quite a house full of people, because my brother-in-law and sister-in-law that live here, the same place that we live, they went to the concert as well. And my other sister-in-law, Jamie's other sister, she lives in Ontario. Well, she flew to Vancouver and came to the concert, but also came back here to the Caribou. And so did my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. They ended up coming back here, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law from Vancouver stayed at our house, and my other sister-in-law stayed with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law that lives here in the Caribou, if that makes sense. So we have been hanging out, playing games. We play a lot of mahjong. It's a Chinese tile game that we play. And then we also were playing a lot of Catan. So we're a family that really likes to play games. So that has been a lot of fun. They just left this morning. So needless to say, my garden has kind of been neglected in the last week. I haven't watered. I haven't really been picking anything because we just either have been busy or we haven't been here. So today was a day of things got to get picked, things need to be thinned out, things need to be watered. So, I mean, it wasn't too bad. Got a carrot that stuck up. There it is. Just had to wiggle it a little bit. The top pulled right off, but the bottom didn't come out with it. So I only have a couple more here to pick. So I'm picking out these carrots. These are the carrots that I planted at the beginning of May. So they've been in the garden for a long time. I think I only have a couple left here. So I want to get these ones, I'm getting these ones out first. They're ready to be harvested. So I picked out all my Denver half-longs that I planted at the beginning of May, and now I've picked out the Goldfinger carrots that I planted at the beginning of May. The only ones that I have left now are the Nanty carrots, but I have quite a few carrots here, so I'm going to wait for a couple of days and then I will pick those carrots as well. So it's really now coming to a time when we're going to be harvesting a lot more things out of the garden and processing a lot more of our vegetables. So let's just take a little look at what we have gotten here. So these are the carrots that I've got. That's 3 different varieties: the Goldfinger, the Denver half-longs, and the Atomic Red carrots. So I'm going to leave those in that basket. I'm going to add my Chinese cabbage, Chinese gold cabbage. That can go to the chickens. I'm going to take these carrot tops and give those to the chickens. I gave the chickens my beet tops from the beets that I picked as well, and I'll give them these carrot tops. Okay, so if we take a look, there's the broccoli, and I'm going to put the broccoli in here, that basket. I'm going to put the cabbage and the cauliflower in with my beets. And then I have my cucumbers and my beans. And then I have all my lovely different variety of tomatoes and my couple of peppers there that I have picked also. If you notice here, my pole beans, look at that. That's a pretty nice size pole bean. So they're starting to produce as well, so we're going to be keeping on top of that and picking those as well. So I just wanted to bring you along and show you what I was doing in the garden today. Lots of harvesting, lots of watering, lots of thinning things out, pulling plants out that are spent plants, and they just the lettuce had gone to seed, so I had to pull those out. And my chickens have quite a feast of beet tops and lettuce and carrot tops, and a little bit of Swiss chard I gave them too, and they're pretty happy little chickens. So anyways, thanks for joining me. I hope you liked this video. If you liked the video, give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Anyways, we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.